So after a person's able to reach love in their life and make money in their life and have their good health, what can that money not solve? And there's a lot that it can't solve. It's your maturity, your stature in Christ, or your stature in morale that money can't solve. And if you ask me, money actually makes these things worse. And so it's good to have good position in life before you make money, because if you're already a corrupt person before you make money, well, money is just going to make you that much more corrupt. So money can solve a lot of issues as far as being able to take matters into courts, to be able to try and fight things in that fashion. But as far as the money is concerned, it doesn't help us with our religious or spiritual views. We have to have solid foundation there. And there's just a lot going on in the world today that I believe people need to stay awake to, because the people with the highest spiritual intelligence don't just read words. They read the energies in the room. They read the moods. They read that vibe that they get in that body language. Their senses are supreme. They're the highest up there. They might not say much, but just because they don't say much doesn't mean that they don't have something to say, because they notice everything that's going on. You see, the news in this country is the fact that we are out here to offer support to those who are having their agency stolen away from them, their money, their time, their availability to work, their willingness and eagerness to work. And I have engaged in creating a platform that would change all of this. I would be going right up against Silicon Valley, Google, Facebook, and all of these. And on top of that, I'd be going up against charities and foundations that have money going over into offshore accounts, and they go, "Oh, see, look at what we're doing for charity." When really, where is charity? If you ask me, it's all being siphoned off by these Freemasons and the Freemasonry that suggests that they have anything in them to be helpful at all. I mean, they have, come to our lodge, and you can get fed and whatnot. But as far as having a victory that actually supports that kind of, especially from having a platform that allows for the victory that we are looking for, to be heard, to not be silenced, to not be censored, to not be hacked, to not be hijacked in this way. We are being silenced and we are being pushed to the edge. And especially when it comes to things like the election, when it comes to things like our availabilities for to be able to have and hold our own opinions about the ways we want to love and cherish others in that love, because it doesn't support the fact that like Jesus spoke on the cross after everything that he went through, is to forgive them, for they know not what they do. And these are words of encouragement, and they're also words that is to suggest that they are overrun by demons that they don't understand. And so when people are talking about demon attacks and stuff like that, you're actually talking about people, and people that are willing to have their agency overtaken by the political agendas and the political elite. But what we want to get after in this country is how our money works, how our elections have been stolen, how how we're just not able to hold on to our own agency without it being diminished in this country. And so these are important things that people, I think, have to wake up to. And it's true, it's beyond the point for me where I'm just rather feeling scrubbed out like a stain, when I can be set up and I'm like sitting there telling people I was hacked, my phone number was hacked, my Gmail, my Facebook, Instagram, everything. Everything just went away from me. And I was really depressed and really scared and hurt about it because I didn't know where it was coming from. Well, now in these latest of days, I learned that it was coming from somebody that was portraying that they could never do these kinds of things to me, and they did a great job up until the point of, having already mothered in a bunch of poisons all of my life. So like everyone just considers me a fucking dumb shit, and I mean it's hard to fight that. It's hard to fight that because it's hard to fight in my mind to be able to get to a place to write things down. It's hard to fight that in my mind to be able to even be able to speak what I'm feeling at that time, because you're so constricted inside. Like you're suffocating down the cellular level, and in order to get away from that, I had to really, really concentrate on that alone and the road ahead of me. Basically, I couldn't have other conversations, other music, or other anything going on because I had to hold on to that memory, those memories, to know how to move in the coming days, because I was feeling rather trapped inside of a life that was not being supported for me, but was being supported for the mothering of that poisoning and the agency that was stolen away from other people, gaining loyalties to these people, willing to do these crimes over me, and that it came from a long-standing friendship of mine, just tore my heart out. Just the cheating alone and going into my place and everything I was learning, and I overheard him like legitimately having sex with my girlfriend. Like that's not enough to like fucking ruin a person. And then you're also being poisoned up and you can't get away from these people. Like I couldn't even run home. I couldn't run anywhere. And anywhere I'd go, I would be like, if I fell asleep for a little bit, it'd be like, okay, when you wake up, you got to jump in the seat and you got to move around because people are staging up for, like, you got to think that people are staging up to come and attack you. So you got to get away from that area because if you don't, well, I've ended up in situations where I could hardly make it out of the car. I was sleeping in the backseat of the car and I could hardly get out of the car. My mind wasn't working right to be able to even tell my body when to go pee or when to go to the bathroom. And so, like, standing up in general is just like, oh, fuck, I gotta fucking pee, like, now. And if I don't, it's actually to the point where it's, like, gonna cause for physical harm inside of my body. And my mind is not working right because of the poison. And so, because it wasn't working right because of the poison, it's just these tactical measures that are being taken up. As far as that's going to silence me, to muzzle me, and then I find out that it's like even aimed at me from family and close relations. And so it leads you down a strange path because these things that actually happen to you just sound too far fetched for people that were protected and had their families. They had two parent situations. They had a support system. They had people to go to talk to about these kinds of things. Well, mine were being restricted, or rather, rather in any which way that it would work. Mine were being restricted, and the loyalties would be over to them then, to these evils. And then once that happens, well, now they're complicit of a crime against me. It's a crime of conspiracy. You see? And so with you having that crime of conspiracy happening to you, and you're being told that you're just a conspiracy theorist, well, it's to push you into a light that's to also otherwise suggest that you have a mental health issue, and that's all it is, when it's not. It's not those things. So I just want people to know that I'm trying to wake people up in this country as far as what's happening to me. And I'm looking for supporters that can actually put together a campaign for me in hopes that, I mean, I'm hungry, you guys. I want to be able to eat this morning. And granted, I have some stuff to eat. I'm so tired of the same thing. And I'm tired of not having my own agency to my own worth, because without these attacks, I think I would be almost a millionaire, if not I mean, without all these attacks all my life, I would definitely be a multimillionaire right now without all of these attacks. So you can take it for what it is, but I'm legitimately a very, very, very hard worker. I do my due diligence as far as that's concerned, just in general. But in the latest like 5 years or whatever, it's been really, really hard. And the only way I've been able to actually focus is through hyper focus. And then, and I've learned this. I've learned this. I didn't know this then, but I was really just fighting. I was really fighting those things that were going on inside of my body and inside of my mind. And then through those findings and through those researches, I found, oh, not only are you hyper vigilant, you have like this hyper sexuality or hyper like hyper arousal, I think it's called, where it's just easy to portray, push someone down that gauntlet, set people up into different relationships, things like that. Well, these things do measures on you over time. And if you're not able to sequester what's going on with you, which happens in history, I mean, with arsenic poisoning, especially when people are being cheated on, whatever, they're just trying to get rid of their opponent and they need them out of the way for whatever reason. They want to save their face in front of family, they want to save their face in front of family, they want to save their face in front of community, they want to save their face, basically. And so, if these tactical messages are taken up with us and we're not able to stand up with Jesus or with our oneness or with our belief in how we want to move, then we're not being protected in this country. We're not being protected not only in this country, but we're not being protected in possibly our families, possibly our communities, and other areas. And I would say from my situation, I'm not protected in any one of those areas. You see what I mean? Like like police work. They can't just walk up to you on a scene and shut off their body camera and say, "No, we've collected all we've needed to collect. We're done." You didn't even get my story. You went and talked to her. You want to talk to everyone else. Now, when you're talking to me, you're going to shut the camera off. How does that help me reach justice if I need discovery to be able to take it into court? I said, just don't talk to me unless you can turn that thing on and allow me on the record. Like, you're legitimately making me scared here because this stuff is happening to me over and over, and I'm set up left and right. And this whole accident that happened was a setup. I was T-boned. The girl was doing, I mean, I think she was being pushed, so I think she was being targeted too or used. But she was being pushed, and even if she wasn't, she like veered into me. Like, you could have just stayed in your lane. Like, why didn't you stay on the road? Why did you have to go off-roading? Like, do you see what I'm saying? I hope you see what I'm saying, because if someone's coming at you down a lane and they steer to the right while you're making a turn, well, yeah, you're gonna get hit because you're right there. There's no cutoff. That's what they were saying. That I cut her off, but I ain't cut nobody off. You can't go. You can't tell me that you can't think about what to do in that situation when you're going. Like, I didn't see that they were going that fucking fast. From when I looked and judged, and I'm looking around at all the other traffic, I did not see that she was going that fast. But when I got hit, it was like, yeah, you can see the damage on the car. There was no 55 miles per hour. That was fucking like 80, 85. Just fucking insanity. Whatever. But either way, I'm not protected in the circumstance of anything legal, because it's just like you go into these courts and they say you're trying to speak your mind, and just in the first 4 words they'll cut you off and say, if you try this again, we're going to hold you in contempt of court. What does that even mean? Like, seriously, what does that even mean? It means I can't make the record. I can't get it to the stenographer. And mind you, I've worked for a stenographer that believed me that these things were happening. And he says, you need to get out there, man. You just need to get out there. You need to get your stories heard, is what you need to do. And do you know how hard that is when you're being hacked, you're being hijacked, your love life's being aimed at, your fucking finances are being riddled from you, your availability for not only your safety, but your health is under pressure, is under attack. You're going in, you're just like ready to drop at times. And you're fighting because you know you need to keep fighting. But then that's what you're up against. And I didn't know this stuff. I just thought I'm a targeted individual like everybody else that says they're targeted individual, having directed energy weapons pointed at them and whatnot. You don't know the answers. That's just it. You don't know what the answers are. All you know is that you're being targeted, you're being stripped of your health, you're being stripped of your availability to even get out there in the first place, and then ultimately you're just being stripped from your own agency that you're trying to take up in your own life. So anyway, I urge for your support. If you guys can help me on Cash App, my Cash App is Chase Your Dreams Today, all one word. Chase Your Dreams Today. I would really like to eat, or go out with somebody. Can you feed me? Can you help me out with what I got going on in my life? I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. This is the main thing. I don't want to be alone, and I think I have a right to say I don't want to be alone, and I want to be protected with somebody that actually has my back and actually has support, that can't get their loyalties purchased by any dollar figure. I can tell you for a fact that if someone came up to me and wanted me to work against you, there's not a dollar figure that they could give me. You gonna give me $1 million? No, it's not enough. And in all honesty, the higher that dollar figure is just gonna make me want to punch you in the fucking face that much more. For even fucking thinking that you could gain my loyalties through money or any kind of fraudulent activity or what have you. Because I've been hurt, and I've been hurt in this way. I understand what it's like, and there is no way I'm going to stop fighting for the people that are out here getting their agency ripped away from them. Because over half of them, I'd say, don't even understand that they're being satanically ritually abused. They're dealing with the patterns, they're dealing with the trauma, they're going into these places to get help, thinking that the pills are going to help them and this and that, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that those people were something else before all of those things, and I would like to strip them of the reality that these things are actually, they're giving their own agency away to these systems is actually taking away their own agency to discover this stuff, to then say, no, I want to move in the way that I originally intended to. I want to be an organic person. I don't want to be moved around the chessboard without my wherewithal about me and my own mind to reason a thing because of the poisoning. And then on top of it, it's your own friend. It's someone that you've actually entrusted to talk to about certain things that are happening to you. And so all of these things are just continuously to drain you up of self. So people need to understand that. They really need to understand that if they're going to understand anything that I'm coming out here to work on, because legitimately my agency has been stripped from me, my availability to work, my health, my love life, my finances, and everything else that you can imagine being hijacked in that kind of way. So it has a lot more to do with identity theft that people even recognize, and it's worse than identity theft. It's legitimately someone aiming to take your life, like live in 14 different aspects of your life. They can't live in every single one, but if they could, they probably would. And that's sick. That's what envy is. That's what the demon of envy is. I'm going to continue these kind of conversations and more videos as I come. I'm waiting to go to church, and I'm hoping to get help from somewhere. I don't know what to do. So if you can support me or, reach out to me, let me know in comments. Do something. What can you do? What can you offer me in this situation? I'm not trying to go into places where these pedophiles get away with things. And I'm not trying to get more of my agency stripped away from me and deal with the trauma there, because it's just going to be more traumatizing, and it's going to rip my availability away from me being able to work on my ministries and get to my music and get to putting together this website and then getting out there with actual information that could help people realize that there's people out here that legitimately do care. They're just not being allowed to care. And these foundations are silly. So I'm up against the foundations that think that they're doing anything charitable in the ways of where I would be willing to move. Like, give me your money to work in. because you're not working that money correctly. And if somebody out there can actually help me see these, not only help by seeing these things happening, help me actually get to that point where I can have a little old 0.09% of what some of these foundations have. I will change things in a dramatic way as far as charity is concerned. I have legitimately proposals for all charities. I have proposals for police departments. I have proposals for kangaroo courts. No, not kangaroo courts. I have proposals made for areas inside of where I'm trying to move in the business to get people not only on board, but to actually work in a way that is charitable. That's to actually work in a way that is through really amazing thing. I don't want to give away what I'm trying to do, but it works with social experiments to actually help people on a real time basis and a real level of care. Otherwise, what you're getting out there is not anything to do with care. So until my next video, thanks for being here, and I hope you support me, and I hope you send me $5 or $20 so I can hopefully get some